What's up, everybody? What's up, Frank?
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
It is a great morning indeed. All right, here we go. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, gentlemen.
We'll give it about a minute or two. This is an exciting topic, which in hopes that you guys will use this and make a lot of money. Hello, Selena.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm on my phone, so I can't. It's kind of a weird layout. I don't know if other people are on here or not.
Oh, it's okay. I see you. I see up your nostrils. Fine.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. No, you're good.
Oh, there's 11 people.
Yes.
Okay.
Here we go. Hello, Yannette. Hello. Marissa, hello. Daisy, Alicia. Omar. Here we go. We're gonna wait about another minute or two, guys. How's everyone's day today? Is it raining cats and dogs where you are? No, just me, just LA.
We just had a big snowstorm up here in northern Colorado.
That definitely trumps any type of rain. I don't know how you guys deal with so much snow. Like when people say we're snowed in, we can't go to school, we can't go to work. It doesn't even compute in my mind. I don't know what that looks like. And the fact that you guys have to spray salt and all that stuff. It's pretty melted now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it messes up your paint on your car too if you don't like wash it off.
Yes, it does. Yeah, salt actually corrodes the metal too, the frames. So that's why you have to get a truck that sits up really high so then salt can't get to your frames. All right, everybody, here we go. Hello, Hugo. Give me 1 sec. As I'm gonna start preparing. Well, I'm prepared, but let me open up some stuff here. Guys, what do we have? What are some major concerns when it comes to open houses? Let's start off with that. And guys, if you're coming on to the class, I would love to see your faces. Please turn your camera on. We are officially starting. Thank you, Annette. Appreciate that. Like the first one. Hector, hello. Here we go, Selena. Thank you. Guys, what are some concerns when it comes to hosting an open house? Concerns, questions, comments regarding it.
Getting good seller leads.
Getting good seller leads. Okay. All right. I like that.
Just getting leads in general.
Just getting leads in general.
I think you know, there's so many people that walk in and then they just like don't want to talk to you at all. They're like, don't talk to me.
They're like, oh my God, is that a realtor? They're like, oh my goodness, get away from me, right? They're just see the house and stuff, right? You guys, the reason why we decided to do the buyer prequal, because it lines up exactly with the open house. And I'm gonna share at the end of the slide deck. You'll probably have to write down some notes. Is that I'm gonna teach you the proper way of doing open houses, right? I'm gonna share with you what the kind of the general conventional way of doing things, and what the world kind of what they want, right? What they want to see out of realtors and all that stuff. We'll get behind the psyche and everything else. But thanks for being here, guys. We're obviously hosting a class on how to host an effective open house, right? So let's get started, guys. Any victories? Any victories that we have for the week? We haven't had our normal coaching calls. Give you guys a little bit of a rest. Any victories? Mark?
I just got a referral.
Oh, Selena just got a referral. No, Selena, you got a referral. Is it a buyer or seller lead?
Seller.
Oh, awesome.
For a luxury property.
Ooh, luxury property. Okay, congratulations. That's a good victory.
Yeah, just found out this morning. She just sent me a text message and was like, actually, Julie said you can call her. And I was like, great.
Nice. Awesome. Congratulations. Mark.
So I picked up a new listing coming up in maybe 6 weeks or so. Great listing in Fresno, great location, great price. And then I have 2 closings tomorrow.
Very good. Congratulations. Listings and closings. That's what we want to hear. Anybody else? Cool. Moving right along, folks. Oh, here we go. Well, what is going on? Give me one second, guys. I love it when technology just decides to not work. Here we go. Guys, mark your calendars Monday through Thursday. Jose and myself, we host role plays at 8:30. For those of you that held role plays, how did that feel? I think Hector's the only one here that's how did that feel?
It was good. Felt good. A little nervous, role playing and leading the role play for your guys' team. We've done it in the office many times, but it felt good.
Gotcha. Hey guys, what we want to do as far as role plays, these guest spots, we really want to empower you guys in terms of setting you guys up as leaders, right, in the industry. And we want your voice to be heard, right? So for those of you that would love to step up into those positions, please let us know. We'd love to have you on our off weeks or whatever, so you guys can inspire. Okay, guys, what we want to get into, I want to get into some shout outs, guys. I know Tom isn't here. Tom has ended 2022 with 43 closings, currently on track to close 96 units this year. So, the energy of it all is really great. So let's give him positive energy to Tom Torres and his team. The next one, Reina, right? I know Reina is not on here, but people from her office is. Production's pacing to be 45 closings this year, right? That's amazing. That's amazing. So let's give it up for Hector and the team, right? And Reina, you guys are doing an excellent job in that. Okay. George Cardenas, he's not here today. Fourth quarter, 15 listings taken, averaging 5 a month, religiously prospects 4 times a week, right? Picks up to 2 to 3 listings to average per month. So, George has been with us for a while, and he's reaping the benefits of, just being fully immersed, right? So good for him. Here we go, guys. How to host an effective open house. On Monday, we must identify an open house, right? No later than Wednesday, this should be done. Okay, no later than Wednesday. And so we're going to go through the logistics of it, and I'm going to teach you how to do it at the end. Okay. So Tuesday, begin calling the neighborhood, inviting, I'm a huge advocate of door knocking. Only because who here has a quote unquote farm? None of you, some of you, both of you, right? We want to be the dominant force within the neighborhood before we start branching out into becoming a market specialist. That means people want to see you, people want to hear from you, people want to know who you are, not just a name on a for sale sign or just a voice over the phone, right? Guys, when I was door knocking religiously for the first 7 years, I used to get a lot of comments, right? I used to get a lot of comments like, oh man, you lost weight, or hey, gain weight, right? Or hey, you really upped your, paper quality on the stuff that you pass out. What we're doing here, guys, is, you start listening to the market. You start hearing how the neighborhood is moving, right? So you become the face of that neighborhood. Next, Wednesday, continue calling and door knocking. What I would do as far as door knocking is what I used to call a 10-10-20. Who knows what a 10-10-20 is? Nobody? Okay. 10-10-20 is, let's say you go preview a house. Let's say you're doing a door knock. You want to door knock 10 doors to the left, 10 doors to the right, and 20 doors across. So per home that's, previewed or whatnot, you're doing 40 door knocks per home preview. So per week, I preview 3 homes, which is 120, I door knock 120 doors. And then per the week, it's 600 doors a week, right? And if you can calculate how many households your little farm has, you can calculate how quickly you can turn that farm. Make sense, everybody? Okay, cool. Next one. We're going to host an open house. Guys, if it's during the weekday, and the time may vary, I like to do it and when the sun's up, and the sun sometimes goes a little bit sooner than later, is that I like to pull the time a little bit forward. I like to do 3-hour windows on the weekdays and 4 hours during the weekends. That's kind of like my strategy. Is during the weekdays, it's when the sun goes down a little bit early, it's 3 to 6. If the sun stays up a little longer, it's 4 to 7, right? And I usually do them, I used to do them 3 times a week when I get a listing. And I even break that down as to how many open houses you should have after you take a listings. But, 3-hour windows during the weekdays, 4-hour windows during the weekend. But I'm going to, Saturday, Sundays, open house, 11 to 4. For me, it was a 4-hour window. However, guys, we don't want to constantly change up the time frame, right? All the time. So who wants to learn a little bit about branding? Actually, you know what? Before we start, let's smile a little bit. You guys are happy to be here? You guys are okay to be here? Okay. Please tell that to your own face, right? I would love to see your faces and like kind of smiling, and we get to do this, right? The thing about branding is branding also equates to consistency, right? It's got to be consistent. So if you're constantly changing, well, this weekend I'm gonna do the 10 to 3. Well, next weekend I'm gonna do 11 to 4. Well, this weekend I'm gonna do 1 to 5. It messes up the consistency of it, and actually it messes up how you structure things in your mind. We're always trying to simplify. Even to your open house times, you would simplify forever. My time was 12 to 4. No matter what, when I used to do a lot of open houses. Okay. And I'll even break out the numbers for you guys. If you want to make $250,000 just by doing open houses, I'll even break that down for you. Okay. It's a numbers game, right? So we'll go over percentages, all that great stuff. Any questions up to this point? No? Cool. Moving on. The invite. Calling and door knocking using the just listed door knock script. Hey, I would like to invite you to. Who do you not would like to? Have you yourself ever thought of, right? so on and so forth. You're door knocking again. We're door knocking pretty consistently here to invite them to open house. And a lot of times, if it's, a lot of people kind of trip over, well, I just don't want to go door knock, just for the sake of it. If you have an open house lined up already, it's much easier to pull them and invite them to the open house and ask questions. Okay. I know this is all riveting stuff, but trust me, I'll get to the point where it gets really fun, right? Towards the end of the presentation here. Okay. Let's go over the basics. Schedule open house with the seller or agent in advance. Make sure house is vacant or clean. It's best when sellers aren't present, right? It's trying to do your homework and your teacher's like looking right over your shoulders. That's not fun, right? That's not fun at all. Okay. Advertise, call, door knock, open house in the neighborhood, 5 mile radius, pass out flyers, 100 past clients, online websites, and social media. For those of you that are really good with social media, put it out there, right? And I'll speak very briefly about the social media stuff. A lot of the information that we give, guys, it's valuable information, right? It's very valuable. The fact that we just give it away because value lies in scarcity is once you just start giving it away, the perceived value becomes a little bit less. So as we're leading up to the open house, especially, is like, hey, this is an exclusive look on a listing that just hit the market. And we're not going to tell them the price. We're not going to tell them any of these things or even the address. If you want an exclusive look before the open house, or when we're having the open house, if you want to be the first ones in here, please DM me the word open, or please DM me the word house, and me and my team will reach out to you. So when we're doing social engagement, we want social media, we want engagement rather than just spewing information all the time. Does that make sense, everybody? Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Here we go. Exposure, right? Have minimum of 30 open house signs. I'll get into the psyche of this, guys. Is the world, when they see stuff, right? Especially a salesperson who they hire, is they value your professionalism through work, right? Through work ethic. Would you guys agree with that? We are based, our business base, we know this, is based on results. But because the world perceives work as value, then we're going to show the world what value looks like. When I say minimum of 30 open house signs, it's really the minimum. When I used to put open house signs out there, it used to be no less than 50. And immediately you guys are like, oh my God, 50, that's a lot of signs. That's a lot of corners. But guess what? It's not one sign per corner. And I want you to really listen to me on this. As farther you're away from the house, right? Southeast, northwest corners of the opposing corners, the diagonal corners, we're going to have 3 to 4 staggered signs. Does that make sense? So then if you have one, like from a bird's eye view, you're going to have one here, 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 like it's staggered. So when I see it, it looks like a big billboard. It looks with all the same signs, right? Not the signs from Lowe's or, Home Depot, right? It's your branded signs with your colors, and it's staggered on opposing diagonal corners leading to the house. And as you get closer to the house, less signs you're going to have. Psychologically, you're thinking, oh, I'm getting close. I'm getting close. So if you're on the street of the open house, you would have one sign on the opposing corner. Does that make sense, everybody? So as the farther you're away, the more signs you're going to put out there. And I usually put 4 signs staggered, again, opposing corners, right? Diagonal corners leading up to the house. When do we put out signs, John? One may ask. Who gets a little sweaty when you're lifting things? I do. I get pretty sweaty. So what I used to do is I used to set up the signs early in the morning in my sweats, in my shorts or whatever. I would set it up, right? I would set up all the signs, all the 50 signs, all the stakes, all the balloons, all that. And then I would go home, chill out, right, and set up for the open house, like, go to the house and set up the tables and stuff, and I'll go home and chill out. Now we'll get professionally dressed. I go door knock a little bit, invite people to the open house, and then I go sit at the open house. Okay. So minimum of 30 open house signs. Make sense, everybody? I know it's a lot. It's going to be some investment, but I'm telling you, it's a huge payout. You'll see, right? And we talk about seller listings because, again, Andrew, right? People see work as value. We're going to put that work in. Okay. Next one, obviously, professional color flyers, guys. You want a nice card stock, right? It doesn't have to be glossy, but a good weight to it. No print paper, guys. Call your title reps; they can provide you that. Easy. You don't have to have hundreds, right? So you want to do that. Do not cancel the open house. Do not cancel your open house. Your seller deserves great service. Here we go. Days before the open house, you have to prepare yourself, get familiar with the neighborhood, know the current inventory that's available. What I like to do is day before is I like to drive around the neighborhood, and with technology, it's a little bit easier. Sometimes there's for sale signs that doesn't pop up on Redfin or Zillow. People want to know about those things. Makes sense? So you want to do your research just a little bit. We got to get good with dialogue, folks. The reason why conventional way of doing open houses is that agents are too passive. And I don't know if I've done this. And when I used to go to open houses just to do some field study, is that agents would sit there, sometimes not even close to the door, like in the sofa. And as soon as I would come in, be like, yeah, like I don't want to be a bother. Go take a look around. Go ahead. And let you kind of roam by yourself. Right? It's okay. I'll be here if you have any questions. And then they wonder, I'm not getting any leads at this open house. They just sit there and drink their coffee and do their little thing on their computer. And they're just like, okay, go. Or they go walk around the house with you and they go like this. They open up the door. Selena, you'll like this. Watch this. They open up the kitchen and they go like this. This is the kitchen. They open up the bathroom and go, folks, this is the bathroom. Guys, bathroom's a bathroom. Kitchen is a kitchen, wouldn't you say? It doesn't matter if it's a mansion or not. I mean, bathroom's a bathroom. It has a toilet and a shower. Like, would we all agree on that? So why get good with dialogue? Why practice the buyer script, right? Is that as we're walking through, we're asking questions and we're qualifying them by disqualifying them, right? And then I'll share with you, right, towards the end, that how this plays out. Okay, even the structure of how you should do the open house, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good. Okay, practice your scripts. Confirm with seller agent the time of the open house. That's kind of obvious, right? Best to have a vacant home. Vacant home meaning the seller not being there. It used to be the most awkward thing when sellers just sit there and read a book right in front of you. It's the worst thing, right? Buy them movie tickets or buy them something, just get them out of the house. Make sure you have all the tools for the open house and put them in inventory. Guys, especially females that are doing the open houses, folks, for safety reasons, what I used to do, I still do them now, is that I asked my female realtors to let me know as soon as they do the open house, they give me some timely updates. And if there's any trouble, I want them to text me or call me saying, hey, what's going on with that red file? Then I'll know, right, how to kind of navigate through that. Fortunately, I haven't had that, but I train all the female realtors that keep me updated as to how that's going. But anyways, like we'll figure that. You have multiple points of exit points, and you don't go upstairs, right? Those type of things. It's very important, right? We want to protect our sisters here, right? So okay. Coordinate with your lender. Be available for questions to pre-qualify your answers. How I used to do open houses, right? And when I got better with them, is that I used to always have another lender on site or another realtor on site with me. And I'll explain why as I as I teach you guys these things, right? And obviously for safety reasons too, but you know, you'll see. We'll definitely get there. And the last point, guys, on this slide deck is wash your car, please. Wash your car. And you know what? In fact, don't even park it on the driveway. Park it across the street, but wash it. Nobody wants to see a car with a bunch of bird poop on it. Like it's not a good look. Right? You wouldn't want to wear a suit with ketchup stains on it. It's like it's a bad look, right? And I tell you this because common sense, sometimes it's a rarity. Right? Yes, Selena.
How important in the real estate industry do you think it is to have like a nicer, newer, updated vehicle versus just like a standard car, or that's not a luxury vehicle?
Okay. For me, I'm a strong believer in that it's got to be clean and simple. Hey, if you can afford the G-Wagon, so be it. Your business calls for that. And there's tax benefits to purchasing a car over 6,000 pounds gross. Talk to your tax advisors on that. It's been California. I believe it's a national code tax 179. Talk to them about that, right? You can write the entire thing, the car of the price in its entirety in 1 year if it's over 6,000 pound gross. But I've digressed. To answer your question, as long as it's clean. I had a realtor, right? I had a realtor, and his name will be, you know, I won't say his name, but he used to drive this car that had peeling paint and the window wouldn't work. And I told him, I was like, hey, you know, in our business, first impression, you don't get a second chance a lot of the times. And guys, if you're constantly worrying about if your car's going to make it over there, that's not the problem that we want to have, right? If it's a putt and you're barely getting to, right, and it's dirty and there's like cigarette butts and like wrappers, guys, you know, it's, people may see it, people may not see it, but the mindset behind it, you know, behind that is, I don't know, you know, it's, I just don't know, right? If that's going to work well for you, right? So to answer your question, as long as it's clean, it functions well, like it's pristine when it comes to functionality. It looks nice. You know, no sunspots or, you know, anything like that. As long as it's clean, I don't care what brand it is. You know, at some point we could level up and do all those things. If that's not important to you, then so be it. But, you know, I sold a lot of houses when I used to drive a 7 Series. I used to sell a lot of houses when I drove a Prius, right? So it's, you know, it's kind of like, you know, but as long as it's nice and clean. Cool. So does that answer your question? You know, in fact, in my town, sometimes the realtors show up in horses too. No, it's funny. Like if you're selling like a ranch, they'll show up in a horse, and it's fine as long as the horse is nicely kept, right?
I have seen people walk down the street on their horses.
Yeah, and it's not even a joke, right? It's legit. So,
but I don't think they were going to a listing presentation.
Yeah, not a listing presentation. All right, cool. Day of the open house, guys. Don't forget to bring this. Okay, open house guest registry. Okay, obviously pens and notes, business cards. Be on time. Be on time, please. Be on time. I know this is a big thing for realtors. Be on time. 10 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, don't even show up. It's again, it's common practice, common thoughts in the realtor community. Unfortunately, common sense is a rarity. Show up on time. Smell good. In fact, have you guys ever been to a restaurant where it's just like dead air? You walk in, it's like silent. No, yeah. Like all the good restaurants have some kind of music playing and there's good fragrance. Guys, if it smells like dog piss, right? Like rabbit poop or whatever, and you walk in, you want your open house to be bright, smell good, and there's going to be some kind of music playing, like a low, like, I'm not talking about hip hop either. I'm not talking about, right, some kind of like low, like a sound that fills that void of sound. Okay, again, this is Common sense stuff. Okay. Turn on all the lights, open up all the blinds. How I prep my sellers is that anything that's grabbable, put it away. Anything that's small, iPhones, iPods, watches, necklaces, whatever, put it away. Right. And it's not always like the people that looking to steal, but sometimes kids grab, right? Sometimes people just kind of like accidentally just drop stuff. So this is how it, proactivity, right? Is worth a pound of cure, right? Than reactive stuff. Okay. During the showing, guys, greet guests. Make sure that you ask for their name, introduce yourself, have a guest sign in, serve refreshments, snacks. If you're into hosting, because realtors and people love free food, and they tend to stay there a little bit longer, right? Make sure you're asking the right questions. If they don't like a particular home, we'll get into all that stuff. Okay, here we go. Categorize your leads hot, warm, and cold on your CRM. Call the day after the open house for those of you that can't close right away. Thank them for visiting the open house. Text them, right? Send the Raven, whatever, right? Guys, you see the picture on the left and you see the picture on the bottom right. Do you guys see that? Okay. So this is a small representation of what I used to do. Okay. So and I'm gonna go into it right now, and I'm gonna go to the numbers and all that good stuff. Any questions before I start heading into like the meat of things? Yes, Mark. Mark?
Yeah, could we get a copy of the slides? I couldn't write fast enough. I'm a slow writer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no problem. Definitely will.
Oh,
here we
perfect.
go, guys. I'm rolling up my sleeve. We're about to have some fun here. Okay. We're gonna work out the numbers real quick. Okay, so I need you to write some stuff down, do some simple math. Right? I'm asking you to do simple math, not because I'm Asian, but not because I love math. But we're gonna figure out how much money you're gonna make by simply just doing the open houses. Okay. So guys, let's say you do 2 open houses a week, right? And I'm not even talking about 52 weeks. Let's just assume that we do, roughly around 68%, right? 68% of 70%. So 52 times 70, right, is 36 weeks. So out of 36 weeks, you're going to do 2 open houses, 72 open houses. Did everyone get that? The reason why I say 70% is typically that's what we work. As realtors, as producers, we work 68, 70% of the year. So 52 weeks, 70% is around 36 weeks, okay? So we do 2 open houses a week. And we're going to do this until we get really good at taking listings. I haven't done an open house in like 10 years, but I got so good with them, I no longer need to do them. But it's a great source of business. And if you're not quite efficient at getting a lot of listings per time, per quarter, per week, we got to do open houses. Folks, this is huge, okay? So it's two open houses for 36 weeks. Imagine you only need 10, excuse me, you only need 10 people coming to your open houses. That's it. We're not looking for 20, 50, 80 people, 10 people. That's it. 10 parties. So 72 times 10, that's 720 people that have come to your open houses per week. I mean, per year. Does everyone have that 720 number? Can I get a nod, a thumbs up, a toes up, or something like? Okay, so Omar. Okay, Selena, thank you. Okay, so we have 720 people, but not all, right? Obviously, not all 720 people are going to work with you. The capture rate is around 10%, right? So let's do, right, 720 times 10%. It's 72 people. It's 72 people out of the 720 people decide, hey, you know what? I like Hector. You know what? I like Andrew, Mark. I'm going to decide to work with them. And I'm going to work out the ratios here, folks. Worst case scenario, you have 72 people leads that you've caught. let's say 50% of those people that actually want to work with you, that are actually motivated, that want to get the job done. So we split 72 into half, which is what? 36. By doing 2 open houses a week, working 70% of the year, and you have 10 people coming in, and the capture rate is 10% of the leads, and 50% of that want to work with you, that's 36 deals. And I want you to multiply 36 by your gross commission right now. What's your gross commission? Is it 8,000, 9,000? In California, you sell a shed and it's like 15,000, right? So multiply it. Let's just assume your gross commission is $10,000. And we worked out the numbers. That's $360,000 in GCI just by doing open houses consistently. And I'm not asking you to do them every single day either. Twice a week, 70% of the year. Does everyone got that? Does everyone have that number? Like your 36 times your GCI? Does everyone have that? Can you chat it over what that looks like? I want to see what that looks like in your kind of the neighborhood where you work at. Let's chat it over. What kind of, yeah, it's a rat piss. 360,000, boom, there you go. Right? Hector says 360. What do we got? Does everyone understand how I got 36? We're good there, right? We just dwindle it down to percentages in half and all that stuff. And guys, again, this is 50% of the leads that you catch are going to work with you. Your ratio is going to be much better than 50%. And I'm going to go into the psyche and all that stuff, like how to do it properly. And we even scratch the surface here. We just literally just scratch the surface. Okay. So let's chat it over. How much money are we making if we do 36 deals? Andrew says 270, right? So Andrew, we don't talk in terms of minimum. We talk in terms of possibility. So 270 or more, right? 270 or more. Here we go.
$500,000.
100,000. Here we go. Omar Hernandez is 504,000. Okay. 270,000 or more, Andrew. Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to share their income if you close 36 deals? Let's get a couple more before I go right into it. Hector says 504,000. Love it. 360, Jashawn. Love it. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. How I used to do open houses, and I wish Carlos was here. Carlos Martinez was here because he's one of my coaching clients, and I taught him exactly how to do it. I think he closed. I think he's on his 6th one now already. Okay. Here we go, folks. I love it. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of it. Okay, so we worked out the numbers. Here's how you actually do the open houses. I've talked about the open house signs. Okay. As you get closer, and as the last picture that I showed you guys, you're going to have stakes in front of the house. It's going to be very almost obnoxiously huge balloons. Like you're going to have riders that are like all in the grass that's kind of leading you to the front house. And guys, again, if it's a condo or whatever, it's a little bit different, but I'm speaking in terms of single family residence. The stakes are going to be all over the place. 30 to 50 of them is just like, they can't miss the open house, number one. Number two, as soon as they walk in, you're going to greet them every single time. It doesn't matter who it is. You're going to greet them, get their info. Here's the kicker. As you're walking through the house, the person that's literally right behind you, right, if you're showing the house, is the decision maker. So you're gonna ask the questions to this person right in the back, or if they're leading the charge, the person in the front is the leader. Does that make sense to everybody? So you're gonna ask questions, hey, why real estate? Why now? What's motivating you for the buy? What are some challenges out there? As you're walking through the house, you're asking the buyer prequal. This is why memorizing, internalizing the buyer prequel is so important, because we're qualifying them as we're seeing the house. Because conventionally, what do realtors do? Oh yeah, just go Roma. Yeah. That's the kitchen over there. Yeah. You know, the seller just did the roof, like 15-year roof, whatever. Blah 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 blah. And as soon as they're about to exit, oh, are you working with the realtor? Oh, how long have you been looking? They're already out. Mentally, they're already gone to the next house. Trying to qualify them at the exit. Just go back, sit down. Go drink your latte. It's done. It's sakabo, as they say. It's done. That's what we qualify as we're walking around with them, right? And the question of, hey, are you working with the realtor, or, you know, does this house work for you, right? And this is how I want you guys to set it up. Is the reason why I have my lender right next to me is that I'm going to ask them if the lender right here that's going to increase your purchasing while decreasing your monthly mortgage to save you, you know, a couple $100 a month. Would you be open to a conversation? You need to have full control of which lender they work with, only because who here has worked with like Chase or Wells Fargo that's like a processor in the East, and you're just like racking your brain about updates. In my town and where I live, Wells Fargo is infamous killing deals. So if you're going to work with Wells Fargo, look, I have a lender right here that's going to increase your purchasing power, more house for the buck, while possibly decreasing your monthly mortgage, saving you a couple $100 a month. I think you'd be open to having a conversation. Or if they're not on site, hey Selena, what's your email? Andrew, what's your info? What's your social security number? And you just write it down and you have them ready for that call. Here's a reason why you want to do it with another realtor or a lender on site. Here's the kicker, guys. Who has been told as you get a lead, you follow up on the Monday and a Tuesday? Who's found a huge level of success doing that? They ghost you, right? A lot of them, they ghost you. They don't even pick up. They're like, they don't know who you are because they sell so many houses. Here's the kicker. Here's how you get really aggressive. Is that you don't want to shut down the open house. You want people to continue coming in. But if you catch a hot one, if you catch that's motivated, check in hand, they have a timeline, and they're super motivated, Frank, does this house work for you? Oh, no, it's too small. I'm well prepared. I have a trifold on my table. Does everyone know what a trifold is? Like a presentation board? Obviously, in the middle, there's a mortgage rates and all that stuff. But on the two flaps right here, I have two homes that are smaller and cheaper, and have two homes that are a little bit bigger and a little bit more expensive. Right on the flaps. I say, Frank, does this house work for you? Oh, it's too small. We need something bigger. In fact, I love the way you say that. I have two right now that I can show you at this given moment. It's ready to go. It's vacant, or it's already been prepared. You want to go see it now. I'll even go as far as, hey, I'll shut this thing down right now. Let's go take a look at it. Does that make sense, everybody? You see how aggressive this is? You do this, you qualify. First of all, you qualify all the questions by asking them. You're well prepared because the lender's right there. You have houses you can show immediately, and you won't desert the open house because someone's there to watch it. I have someone that's cheap, two that's cheaper, two that's more expensive, right? That's a little bit bigger, that's ready to go to be shown. Guys, if you do this consistently, more than likely, the 50% capture rate will be way higher than this. Carlos Martinez, go call him. Go call him about the experience. I taught him exactly this, how to do it. He used to do the whole, hey, I'll follow up with you on Monday. Hey, I'll follow up with you on Tuesday. Should you do them? Yes, you should follow up with them. But agents aren't being aggressive enough in that moment, asking for their business. And immediately when I say, hey, be aggressive, some of you thought, well, what if they're working with a realtor? Right? Our minds went to that immediately. I know some of you are thinking that. Well, Mark, you've told me you've been looking for about 6 months. And the challenge was that you were getting beat out all the time. And then the agent wasn't aggressive enough. Mark, let me ask you this. Are you committed to your agent or are you committed to your family? My family. Great. Let's compare apples to apples. I believe you should work with somebody that's aggressive that can get you into escrow or under contract within a certain amount of time, 45 days, you said. Let's go take a look at it right now. And if it doesn't work out, you always have that realtor to go back to. How many of you are this aggressive? Not a lot. So from the get-go, right? From the get-go, we have 50 signs out there. You come closer to the house, there's 50 stakes. As soon as you walk in, you're qualified then. You have a lender on site or ready to pick up the call. My lender better qualify somebody within 30 minutes or less. That's my qualification for a lender. If you don't do that, then we're not aggressive enough. And then you ask them, does this house work for you? No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. Hold on. Someone's making, right? Does this house work for you? And it's all about proactiveness, guys. Proactive. I'm not being reactive to anything. I'm well prepared. Right? The 2 vacant homes or the 4 vacant homes that's ready to go. Put them in my car. We could caravan it. I don't care. But we're going to see it right now. We're going to get you into a home next 45 days. Guys, people want to work with bulldogs, not a yapping chihuahua. I guarantee you that. People want to work with, especially if they're complaining, oh man, we're not getting into a house. 6 months. It's been 6 months, a half a year. The challenge is my agent isn't aggressive enough. If you carry yourself this way, if you operate open houses this way, from start to finish, what do you think your chances? Do you think your chances will go down or up in terms of success? Obviously, it's a loaded question. It'll go up. So you doing 36 transactions by doing 70% of the year's work on open houses, 2 a week, this is a no-brainer. Especially if you're part-time, this is how you can get into full-time positions. Any questions on that? Any questions on what I just covered? Is this a little bit different than the conventional way of doing open houses? It's a lot different. Because I talk to a lot of realtors and they're like, hey, how many signs do you put out there? Oh, 8, 13. Do you see why for sale by owners don't see any value in us? Because we're literally putting a minimum amount of work. Concerns, questions?
Hey, Coach. Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Hey, my man. When you asked for the business at the open house, I could actually use some input in this. So, like, let's say they do have a real estate agent. I do ask them, hey, how's the service with your realtor? How long you've been looking for? And I actually did get a client that's interested in working with me now because the real estate agent sucks. But when it's a brand new client that doesn't have a real estate agent, or they're just looking, they're not really interested in buying right now, well, how would you handle that?
So why look at open houses?
Mm-hmm.
So number one is this, guys, we can't motivate the unmotivated. Would you guys all agree with that? You can't, as a great of a salesperson you might be, you can't convince anyone to buy something if they're not convinced already. Do you understand that? Eric,
yeah.
Do you get that? So if they're not even looking, and that's your job to qualify by disqualifying them. That's what I mean.
Okay.
So if there's no motivation, timeline, location, then maybe it's the standards that we got to work on in terms of who we represent as buyers agents.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not looking to buy, then we have nothing to talk about.
Okay.
Right? But sometimes, Eric, a lot of times it's a smokescreen. Oh, I'm just looking. Oh, so you cover that up front. My objection handler for, hey, I'm just looking is as soon as they come in, I know I'm going to hear that. Also, you've been driving all day just looking around at homes, folks. Yeah, we're just looking around. Great. Then let me ask you this. I'm just curious. Why real estate? Why not? What's the motivation for looking at all these homes? And you qualify them as you walk them through.
Okay, cool.
So, John,
Yes.
so one of the things that I read about and like to say is I don't ask somebody when they come in, do they have a realtor? Because sometimes they just say yes, just so you don't talk to them or don't ask them any more questions. I ask them, who's your realtor? And if they can't come up with their realtor's name, guess what? They're not that high on their list, or they might not even have one.
And in fact, where are they? So good input, Mark. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Is this helping you guys a little bit as to how to do a proper open house?
Yeah.
Guys, we're in a the world sees our value as work. We got to put our work in. We got to put the work in, right? And for those of you that are still working on your skill set on becoming a great listing agent, it's not a switch. You can't just turn on your listing side and you can't turn off your buyer skill sets. It's a progression too, right? It's a fusion of things. Like it's a progression. You grow from it, and you got to know the ins and outs of the buyer process, what they think, what they want, so you can fully empathize when you become a listing agent, right? It's called business maturity. Like you grow into it. It's not a switch where you're like, okay, I decide I'm gonna be a listing agent today and just turn off all buyers and you turn on all sellers. You're gonna hurt financially like this, because I did it and that was the biggest mistake. Buyers pay the bills, listings build a business. If buyers are gonna pay the bills, do a lot of them. Like do a lot of them, do a mass amount of them. Is that hitting a chord with anybody? Is that, what comments or questions do we have on that? So I'll open up to 10 minutes left. I'll open up to any objection handling, any of the stuff we just talked about. What are your concerns?
So on that comment that you just made, John, about transition, like not stopping working with buyers, what did that transition look like to ensure that, those buyers were taken care of, but you were focusing on the listings?
So if you want to keep it really simple, guys, the reason why we ask you to prospect in the morning is that heavy lifting has to be done in the morning. So we can focus on money making towards people getting under contract during the after lunch, right? So that progression of becoming a listing agent, it's a boring one, right? If you can master boredom and how to be lonely in this business, you become a great listing agent. The stuff that you do on a day in, day out stuff, guys, it's not the most appealing, the sexy. It's just boring. It's a grind at times. But at the same time, you got to pay the bills, right? So, and how you work the buyers is sheer energy. The sheer energy of your being is going to get you a lot of buyers, and your standards of it, right? Your standards of who you work with. So how it looked like for me is that no matter if I get something or not, my morning time is built on building out my skill set, building the muscle, getting my reps in, right? Knowing that I'm going to turn into a listing agent pretty soon here, while not stopping the open house, how aggressive I am, putting people under contract. It's all about that energy during a late afternoon. Is that at some point, you're going to see a lot of effort, not a lot of return on that listing, right? And then you do this and you keep going. You put buyers under contract and you build your confidence. You have 7 under contract. There's 150,000 coming next month, right? So it starts coming this way, right? All the stuff that you guys are putting in the mornings, whether you get results or not, those efforts are never lost. Those efforts are actually it's stored away. In real estate, you get things in bunches and you don't get things in bunches. and then we work them out to be averages. So let me tell you a story, right? Personal. 8 years ago, my 90-day run from January 10th to April 9th, I told my wife, give me 6 months. Let's see what I can really do. My first 90 days, 32 listings in 90 days. 32 listings in 90 days. And some of you are like, wow, that's like 3 a day. Yeah, because I was obsessed with if I can do, because my goal was 1 every 15 days, 1 listing every 15, that's 2 a month. And I said, you know what, if I can do 1 in every 15 days, why can't I do 1 in every 7 days? And then I got really crazy and I said, you know what, if I can do 1 in 7, which I did, is that then why can't I do 1 in every 3 days? But me saying this to you, it sounds impressive, but the work that's being put in, it's ugly work, right? Law of averages, it's 1 in 3, but guess what? The first 2 weeks of that January, nothing, skunk, bam, just putting in the work, nothing, getting rejected, getting canceled, all this stuff. And then the last week of January, I set 6 on a Wednesday, 6 appointments on a Wednesday, 2 DocuSigns went out on Tuesday night. By the time I finished my last appointment on a Wednesday, all 8 of them were in my hand or in my mailbox. That's how law of averages work out, because you get a lot in bunches and you don't get anything. But our job is to be consistent while keeping a high level of intensity. Right, guys? When I say 1 in 3, it sounds pretty good, right? So if I can get you a listing every 3 days, you're like, oh my God, that's wonderful. That's great. But those are averages. And the next month I caught 14, and the next month I caught 10. But guess what? It wasn't 1 every 3 weeks. It was 2 in 6 days, nothing in 10. It's how intense and consistent are you in your efforts? And so that switch was made. And I wish I had a community like this, because I didn't. I used to sit there by myself in a little cubicle, and it's not a knock on Keller Williams or anything, but they had a booth, and because nobody prospected. It was just me. So I walked in the booth, 3x3 booth, sit there for 3 hours, no community, no coaching community, nothing, no mastermind. And so I used to just rack my brain on how to get this done. But the great thing about this is you guys have great brokers. You guys have abundant mind thinking agents in your own office that you guys can work with, mastermind with, push each other. Does that answer your question? I know it's kind of long-winded there, but is that good? Does that suffice?
I have another quick question. With being aggressive, because with people walking into the open house, they're always going to say, yeah, I'm working with an agent, and we want to overcome that. How far do you go without sign crossing? Because sometimes it's kind of hard. Like, you don't want to get in trouble, but you want to be aggressive and you want to earn their business. But, I don't know.
And I love that, the fact that you asked this question. All of you here, all of you, including myself, will lose more business because you're under aggressive than being overly aggressive. There are people in your database right now, just because you weren't aggressive enough, they bought or sold with somebody else right now. Do they have a realtor? Where are they? What are the challenges? Why is it taking so long? So we got to get rid of the concept of, oh, I'm bothering people. Well, I'm putting unnecessary pressure on people. You know what real pressure is? And not getting into a home for 6 months. That's real pressure. And if they had any decency, they would fire themselves, actually. And on an expired call, why do we always ask, hey, when do you plan on relisting? Knowing 95% of that answer is a no. Because I want to get that out of the way. I want to hear it, and I want to just, you said no to me once, okay, good. Whatever that answer is, I want to hear it up front so I can get rid of it. And as I'm walking through, I'll find out as I'm qualifying them. If they don't qualify, they won't qualify. Me asking great questions. The buyer prequel. You may have a realtor, but you've been looking for a half a year, 3 months. They're not that aggressive. You've been losing out on bids. Yeah, sometimes, I'm committed to my agent. Fair enough. I won't ask again. well, yeah, I have an agent. You'll get a sense of, man, if they're really frustrated or not. Let me ask you this, Daisy, Liz, whoever, are you committed to your agent or are you committed to your family? And how important are you and your family's goals? And if you can wave a magic wand, when would you want to be in that next house? 45 days before Easter? Great, let's get you there. In fact, if this house doesn't work for you, I have 2 that's smaller, that's a little bit more affordable, and I have 2 that's a little bit bigger, but could be on the top end of your budget. Which one would you like to see? You know, in fact, I'll have my lender sit here. I'll shut the thing down right now, and we can go. Because if you're operating in this space of sense of urgency, I can get the job done because we're result-based, is that more people will cling on to that than somebody will, okay, see ya. You know what, Bob, I'll follow up with you on Monday. And you get a little, you don't even call them either. You get a little weak little text saying, hey, I met you over the weekend. Hey, are you still interested in? Punch yourself in the face repeatedly, please, and quit coaching ASAP. I know it sounds a little harsh, but I got to make a statement, right? But that's how it is, right? You'd rather be a little bit more aggressive than under aggressive. Questions? Something is that good? Here, is that okay?
Hey, John, I had a question.
Yes, you go.
Hey, John, on those, when you started, were you saying you were doing those transactions? Were those coming from your sphere influence, or were you using Red X or something?
Thank you. Hugo, thank you for asking that. Out of the 32, 4 of them came from COIs, all right? COI past clients, 4 of them. 6 of them came from FSBOs, and 22 of them came from expireds. And
Okay.
I still use a system called Vulcan 7. So if you guys are interested in making volume amount of calls, please use that system. It's paid itself hand over fist.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do have a question. How do you feel on hosting open houses on other agents' listings, like even from your different company?
Do it. Do it. What's the goal here? To expose the house to the buyers, and for you to pick up buyers. Doesn't matter who hosts it, as long as they're okay and they're not jerks about it, I will do it. In fact, they should thank you for doing the open house because they're not doing a damn thing. They're hoping and wishing that it'll sell, and they're not doing any other work. And again, guys, I don't say this because we're work-based, we're result-based. We want to show the sellers and buyers, especially if you want to pick up seller leads through open houses, that because I've gotten a lot of compliments. I'm like, man, there's a lot of signs out there. I'm like, yeah. Maximum exposure, first impression. Any objections I can handle for you guys before I let you guys go in about a minute here? And guys, it's the time is up. So if you need to go, please go. I won't take offense to it. If you need to sign off, please go.
How many calls did you make per day?
How many calls did I make? Okay, so let me briefly talk about that. Hector, is a lot of realtors focus on contacts, right? Okay, and I'll even break out the numbers for you. A lot of people concentrate on the contacts because it's work-based and it's task-based. As soon as we can switch the contacts to appointment-based, it becomes a whole different ballgame. Because if you only concentrate on contacts, those appointments might never come because you're only putting in the work and you don't have to be very intense about it. But if you're trying to catch appointments, contacts will surely come because you're based on results. So that's number one. Number two, if you're making just sold calls per hour, 10 to 12 contacts. If you're calling for sell by owners and expires, you're going to catch 6 to 8 per hour. When I used to do heavy calls, it used to be between 3 to 6 hours a day. So Monday, Wednesday, Fridays were my appointment days, right? So I would call in the morning for 3 hours, and then I would go on appointments or whatever, right? I would do showings Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday night, between 4 to 6:30, I will make those extra calls those nights, right? Saturdays, every Saturday, it's 8:30 to 11:30, I'd make calls. So it's an extra 3 hours on those days. So it varies from 3 to 6 hours a day. And I was making anywhere from 30 to close to 60 contacts a day. And guys, mind you, when I was, and to Liz, to your point, is when I was working towards becoming a listing agent, instead of, because I didn't have a lot of business, right, as new agents are, is that I call in the morning and I door knock for 3 hours at night, and then I'd go home. So in the beginning, for first 7 years, it used to be 6 hours a day and 3 hours on Saturday. So it took a lot of effort. You're gonna get this much results. But do we have enough patience and faith that you're gonna do this much work and you're gonna get this much results? Because that's how it's gonna turn out. The seesaw is gonna tip. But a lot of people don't have the resolve to kind of wait through, kind of working through to see the fruit of your labor. Hector, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else before I let you guys go? Was this helpful? Guys, we can talk about business practice too, like what I used to and whatever if you guys are interested in learning. No questions? We're good. Last chance here, going once, going twice. And you know how I abruptly just end classes, so I might just leave. All right, cool. Have a great lunch, folks. Thanks. Bye.